It's time to talk about all things X-Men in the world of comic books. We've got a big Wolverine issue, number 20. It's basically the set-off of the Destiny of X version of Wolverine. We got a new character joining up with the Wolverine himself. We've also got the big reveal, Free Comic Book Day coming up, that MJ perhaps is going to be skinned by Moira. We also know Chasm is also going to be in league with another X-Men villain, longtime X-Men villain that's been returned. And here with me to talk about that is the X-Men historian, the Marvel aficionado himself. Doc, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Wes? Thanks for doing this, even when it's a dead week in X-Men.
It wasn't very exciting. There wasn't a ton of news, but we do have a comic book to talk about, and we have a little bit to about spoilers that I've already talked about here on the channel. But Wolverine 20, Ben Percy, we get Adam Kubert back on the art here, Doc. You know what was weird? I think this is the worst illustrated issue of Wolverine that Kubert has done in this run.
It's up there. He's had one or two other issues that were questionable, I guess you could say, on the art. This one was right up there for most not very Adam Kubert. Like, I was disappointed. This one was still okay.
Yeah, compared to others, it's good art, but compared to Adam Kubert's previous work, there's something missing. There wasn't a whole lot of detail, especially by the end. The art just seemed to lose its luster.
He wasn't really all that invested in this story. It was a little too goofy for him. It showed in his effort level.
Oh, and I don't blame him. This story is not very good. I don't like this issue at all, to be completely honest. We do have Deadpool essentially jumping in, and we get an opening monologue of Deadpool as Wolverine's riding with a motorcycle helmet on, which absolutely looks stupid on the character. He should never have a helmet on when he's on a motorcycle. And it's just this big, long monologue from Deadpool. And Ben Percy, I do think, has a pretty decent voice for Wolverine a lot of the time, but he has no idea how to write Deadpool. He wasn't funny. Deadpool is probably the hardest character in my mind in Marvel Comics to write well, and Ben Percy he does not have it.
No, he doesn't. I mean, you call this an opening monologue, but it's 2/3 of the fucking comic. Deadpool is the narrator for this entire comic book, except for the data pages. And even some of those he's the narrator for. Ben Percy, I wouldn't say he has a great voice for Wolverine. I think he has a less terrible voice than a lot of modern Marvel writers, but it's still not a good voice for Wolverine. But his voice for Deadpool is just fucking obnoxious. Not in that like endearing way that like Fabian Nicieza was able to do it. Ben Percy does not get it at all, and he makes him, I want to reach through the page and strangle him and never want to see him again. Deadpool.
It wasn't a welcome addition to the comic book, and of course there's some fourth wall breaking, and it's very meta, which makes sense for the character. And there's a bunch of little skits about how he tried to join up with the mutants on Krakoa, and he didn't make it every time. None of them were funny. None of it really landed. I guess the other big part of the story, other than the antics of Deadpool himself, Wolverine and Sage are essentially tracking down this Dolores, I think her name's Ramirez. She works for the CIA. We've certainly seen this character plenty of times in this Wolverine run, and Wolverine knows that she has his hand. I think that happened like a year and a half ago, but he's never mentioned it since. But now Wolverine has to get his hand back, and they're worried that perhaps Dolores and the CIA are making new Wolverines or something like that. So he's got to get in there now.
The way that Ben has this tendency of just like making something happen and then completely dropping it as a plot point for a year is getting really fucking obnoxious. We've seen Wolverine deal with Agent Ramirez like 3 or 4 times. Hell, they were in that fucking restaurant, that diner together with that Jeff Bannister dude just like a couple of months ago. Then they dropped it again so that Wolverine could go, I don't know, fight.
But he never mentions his hand. If it was that important
to
him, he would have mentioned it while he was talking to her.
Yeah, exactly. He would have brought it up at that point. He would have brought it up at any point since that whole Legacy House thing. The big takeaway from Legacy House, the thing that was supposed to grab you was that hand, but the actual like thing that you were supposed to take away from that whole story arc was, oh, they're trading in Maverick. And now they're going back to the hand thing that isn't really that fucking important. He hasn't made any effort to go out and get all of his other versions of himself So I don't know why he gives a shit about this.
It kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. But I guess it is motivation in Ben Percy's mind for the story to move forward. And they track down where the CIA are going to be. And he arrives, and I guess there's a truck full of robots that have been destroyed by Deadpool.
Yeah, it looks like Arcade's robots, like X-Men robots that he used to send, whenever he'd have the X-Men, he'd stick Kitty Pryde in the murder world, and all the X-Men are trying to kill her, and they're all robots. It was a bunch of Arcade robot X-Men that apparently, he finds, and he's confused as to why they're all destroyed already, and Deadpool. Yeah, that's the bit. That's the joke.
I don't know. I was not compelled by this comic book, and I certainly don't recommend it. It's not the worst thing ever. The art, while not up to Kubert's standards so far on Wolverine, is still perfectly serviceable in comparison to other artists. But the story is just, if you just love everything Deadpool, you might like this. But if you like a good, solid, witty Deadpool that's funny, you're not going to like this because there's not a chuckle to be had.
Yep, and him deciding to take over one of the fucking data pages, it was just as obnoxious as anything else that I could have imagined.
I stopped reading the data pages over a year ago, and I'm never going back.
Fair point.
Hey, I learned my lesson. It's time for you to learn your lesson, Doc. Now let's get over to something else that you love. You love X-Men, but you also love Spider-Man. Apparently, we're going to be mixing the two. We've got these spoiler pages. I already did a video about it, where it appears Moira the robot is going to skin MJ alive to infiltrate the Hellfire Gala. What do you think about this?
No, this is fucking stupid. Like really, really stupid. I mean, it's already a bit of a stretch to do like a Spider-Man X-Men event, but adding in Moira, why? Because she has a propensity for a redhead. She's still not going to what the shit, or she can't just wear her as a like skin suit and nobody's gonna notice. She is an android at this point. She's not like a Terminator android that's like all skeleton.
But MJ has an invitation to the Hellfire Gala because she's a brand ambassador. She's a Kardashian.
If it's going to be for a Hellfire Gala, everybody goes through this stupid red carpet. Like they come in right onto the red carpet. When you see MJ with like saggy fucking jowls and like her face barely hanging on, Walking Dead style, yeah, it's going to be pretty goddamn obvious.
So what do you think is going to happen with this? We've seen the promo for this upcoming Spider-Man by Zeb Wells, and it says, Peter, what did you do? And it looks like he's in an impact crater and he's blown something up. Do you think that Peter Parker is going to do what we've been asking for the last year and nuke Krakoa off the planet?
Honestly, you know what? That would be the only cool thing that I can think of as, and at that point, where's the problem?
I'm willing to sacrifice MJ for the greater good of the Marvel 616.
Yeah, because you know what? After she gets nuked, he could just like get Doctor Strange to fucking time travel her back to right before Moira skinned her or something.
What about this? What if it turns out after this happens, they reveal that MJ was a mutant all along, and then they resurrect her, and she doesn't want to leave Krakoa, which Peter Parker just destroyed, and that's why she's mad at him.
That would be quite possibly the most retarded retcon in history, and I wouldn't put it past Marvel's editorial right now.
Hey, it could happen. There's going to be some more crossovers. They've got this dark web event that's coming up, and I guess we saw kind of the precursor, at least some spoilers to it, where we have this new character. Ben Reilly is Chasm, and he's meeting up with Maddie Pryor at the end, and I guess this is leading to dark web.
I feel like this dark web thing also has to do with the Moira MJ thing, that these are all somehow going to be interconnected. Having two spider-related people involved with two X-related people at the same time seems kind of far-fetched unless they're part of the same story. What, Ben got sick of fighting with the Queen Goblin? Now he wants to like team up with the Goblin Queen. Zeb Wells already made this joke in ASM. What are we doing?
You don't want to see the X-Men and Spider-Man fight? That'd be fun.
I'd like to see. Well, I want to see again. I do want to see Peter nuke all of Krakoa.
He could be giving us what we've all been asking for. I don't know. It looks like there's a big impact creator. We'll see if that leads to that. Do you think they're actually going to skin MJ? Obviously, the page says, I'm going to skin you and wear you as a suit. But we haven't seen her at the Hellfire Gala. There's no confirmation that it happens. Perhaps Spidey's sense kicks off and he goes in and saves the day.
I'm going to bet that it never happens. If it does, the Marvel editorial is so far out of touch with readership. It'll be on a level of losing readers similar to Gwen Stacy, like killing Gwen.
That was done tastefully.
It was done, but it still pissed off so many longtime Spider-Man readers. There are people to this day that said that they used to be a diehard Spider-Man fan. Now, that you lost a lot of Spider readers at the time. Granted, through the advent and, over the years, they gained a lot more back, but it took a long fucking time. And it took his marriage to MJ to really win a lot of new readers on that. You kill MJ now. No, I think,
it's Ginger's side, Doc. There's nothing wrong with taking out a redhead here and there,
they kill MJ, we fucking riot.
I think they're going to do it, man. I think she's going to be a mutant. Who knows? We'll see.
I think that I don't think, honestly, it would be the dumbest possible decision and completely out of touch with readership. So I wouldn't put it past them.
All I can say is Doc's two favorite things in all of comic books, X-Men and Spider-Man colliding to create one of the worst storylines in modern comics, would be so 2022. I would love covering it. I would be excited.
That might actually be the impetus for me to just never buy a new comic book again.
Oh, come on. You're never going to do that.
No, I actually may.
If you would like more information about the upcoming encounter between MJ and Robot Moira and what it all means and a little bit of speculation, me having fun with it, definitely check this video out. Did about 10, 12 minutes on it. This is a good, solid video, and you can get up to date on all the stuff that's going to be coming up in Free Comic Book Day.